The New York Giants lost their Week 1 matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Giants were competitive and played a good game against one of the best defenses in the NFL. But what prevented the Giants from winning on Monday night? What went wrong for the Giants in Week 1? Let's break down the film and find out. Welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm Anthony, and today we will be breaking down the film on the Giants' Week 1 loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers to start the 2020 NFL season. Those of you who watched last week's film breakdown know just how special the Steelers' defense is. In that video and on the Fireside Giants podcast, I stated how the Steelers led the NFL in turnovers forced last season, and that if the Giants wanted to win in Week 1, they needed to play a turnover-free football game. Unfortunately, the Giants were unable to do that as second-year quarterback Daniel Jones threw 2 interceptions. Let's break down those interceptions. Were they truly Daniel Jones' fault, or were there other factors involved that led to these turnovers? This first interception was simply an amazing play by TJ Watt. Watt is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. He made a hell of a play here. Jones could not have anticipated Watt making this play. But let's look at this play a bit more closely. What if Watt hadn't intercepted this pass? Looking at this play, if Watt hadn't intercepted this pass at the line of scrimmage, there was a decent chance it was getting picked off anyway. Daniel Jones was throwing to Engram in very tight coverage on this play. The coverage was tight because of a poor route ran by Engram. Engram had one of the worst games of his career on Monday night. On this play, notice how Engram runs this quick out route. This should be a sharp cut to the boundary, and he should work his way back towards the ball. Instead, Engram comes out of his break and drifts upfield, allowing the safety to get underneath his route. This pass would not have been completed regardless of TJ Watt intercepting it. It was a poorly ran route, at least in my opinion, and it would have been a troubling throw regardless. At the same time, Daniel Jones needs to do a better job reading the field. His eyes were trained on Engram as soon as the play began. Jones stared this route down and made it easy for TJ Watt to read his eyes and anticipate this throw. Now let's take a look at Daniel Jones' next interception. After an impressive 19-play drive, Jones capped it off with a heartbreaking interception. This would have been Danny's best drive of his career if he finished it with a touchdown. He converted multiple third and fourth downs while hanging in and delivering accurate passes against suffocating pressure. But the last play of this drive was the lowest point for the Giants in this game. This play's failure was due to a combination of a few things. Firstly, Daniel Jones needs to be smarter. He has to get rid of the football sooner or learn to take a sack. This was second down. Get rid of the ball or get on the ground and live to see another down. Throwing an interception here is purely unacceptable. But my main criticism on this play was not towards Daniel Jones. Rather, my criticism on this play was towards Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett called for a bootleg rollout to the left side of the field on this play. The Giants did a terrible job selling this play action firstly. Secondly, here is why this play call was so bad in my opinion. Not only is Daniel Jones inevitably throwing against his body on this play as he is rolling to the left side of the field, he also has a shrunken field to work with. Rolling out on this play, Jones is given 20 yards of width to work with. He is also only given 25 yards of depth to work with. Instead of 50 yards across and 25 yards deep from the middle of the field, Garrett rolls Jones out and shrinks the field, giving him only a couple of receiving options and an accelerated pass rush. Jones was surgical in this game, working the middle of the field from the spread offense. He was 13 of 15 for over 180 yards and 2 touchdowns when throwing down the middle of the field in this game. In this game, he read the field with excellence when his receivers were spread out. It was a perplexing decision, in my opinion, for Jason Garrett to shrink the field and make this read more difficult for Daniel Jones on this play. However, Daniel Jones could have thrown the ball out of bounds on the left sideline 12 yards away or inbounds to the feet of a receiver only 9 or so yards in front of him. Instead, he attempts to throw the ball through the back of the end zone 25 yards in front of him, requiring him to put at least 30 yards of juice on the football in order for it not to be intercepted. Daniel Jones showed major improvement with his decision-making and pocket presence in this game. But this play was an extremely poor decision that reminded me all too much of his poor pocket presence from his rookie season. But at the end of the day, this play could have been avoided with a better play call in the red zone. Daniel Jones played an impressive game despite these two costly turnovers. However, the other star in the backfield, Saquon Barkley, did not have such an impressive performance. Saquon ran the ball 15 times for only 6 total rushing yards. Unfortunately, the Giants' offensive line completely failed its running back once again. These clips show multiple instances where Saquon Barkley got hit behind the line of scrimmage. Saquon was hit behind the line of scrimmage on 11 of his 15 attempts. On this clip, you can see our boy Nick Gates whiff on a block leading directly to a tackle for loss. Here's another clip I want to quickly break down. The Giants ran a lot of 13 personnel on Monday. This is when the offense has 3 tight ends on the field and 1 running back. If the Giants are going to continue to run the football in 13 personnel, their tight ends need to block better. Watch as literally all 3 tight ends fail on this play. For more on the Giants' poor rushing attack, click the link in the description to watch our last video where offensive line coach Matt G breaks down some film. On top of the poor offensive line play, the offensive play calls also left much to be desired. Saquon Barkley was given 15 rushing attempts in week 1. Of these 15 attempts, 8 of them went wide right and 5 of them went inside right according to Next Gen Stats. The Giants barely ran the ball to the left side of the line. 1 attempt went inside left and 1 attempt went wide left. For the Giants to only run the ball to the left side of the line twice on 15 attempts is almost inexplicable. This lack of creativity and poor offensive line play led to a pathetic performance on the ground by the Giants. If the Giants want to win in week 2 against the Chicago Bears, they're going to need to block better and they're going to need to have a more creative rushing attack. As bad as the Giants' offensive line was in the running game, Saquon Barkley was still deserving of some criticism. Yes, Barkley made some excellent plays as a receiver in the backfield, but as an additional pass protector in the backfield, Saquon was highly disappointing. Barkley struggled all night long as a blocker for Daniel Jones. Take a look at this play where Saquon let up a sack. This sack was due to a lack of vision on Saquon's part. If Barkley was meant to chip block the edge rusher to help Andrew Thomas, he would have went out on a route afterwards. But Barkley didn't go out on a route because he was not meant to chip block. Saquon was meant to pick up the blitz wherever it came from. But Saquon never saw the blitz coming from the cornerback, so instead he went to double team the edge rusher and never saw the blitzing cornerback coming. Mike Hilton was given a free run at Daniel Jones and earned an easy sack because of this. This was one of multiple plays in week 1 where Barkley struggled in pass pro. Giants legend Tiki Barber criticized Saquon, saying he looks like he does not want to hit anyone. His criticisms were fair as Barkley has struggled in pass protection throughout his career and looked like a liability at times during this Monday night game. Now let's quickly switch over to the defensive side of the ball. The Giants defense actually played a pretty good game, all things considered. The pass rush was a pleasant surprise as Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and Lorenzo Carter wreaked havoc in the Steelers' backfield. But towards the end of the game, it became noticeable that the Giants defense was running out of gas. In my opinion, this is on defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. I think Graham did a great job in this game. He put together some very creative, disguised blitz packages that threw Ben Roethlisberger off. But as the game wore on, the Giants defense deteriorated. I think Graham's blitz-heavy game plan and high-speed scheme led to increased fatigue for the Giants defense. Additionally, there were some plays where Graham was a little over-aggressive and the Giants got burnt because of it. Take this touchdown to Juju Smith-Schuster as a prime example. The Giants ran a cover 0 man blitz on this play. Isaac Yiadom was unfortunately lined up one-on-one with Juju Smith-Schuster. For Juju, this is an easy win. The Giants sent a full house after Big Ben, and all Ben had to do was wait for Juju to get open and throw up an easy touchdown pass. The Giants were a little over-aggressive on this play. They made it easy for a veteran quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. This was not a rookie who has never faced an NFL blitz before. This was a veteran, a Super Bowl champion quarterback. He can easily recognize this blitz, exploit its weaknesses, and deliver a touchdown pass. But this is something we need to keep in mind as the Giants head into Chicago in week 2. The Giants will be going up against a significantly worse quarterback this week than they did last week. This is not Ben Roethlisberger, but this is Mitchell Trubisky. Now, Mitchell Trubisky did have a solid game in week 1, but how did he achieve his success? The Bears' offensive line did an excellent job blocking for their quarterback. Trubisky had the longest average time to throw in week 1 of any quarterback in the NFL at 2.89 seconds. The Giants racked up 14 pressures against Roethlisberger in week 1. The key to beating the Bears is staying aggressive and getting to the quarterback. The pass rush needs to show up again in week 2 like they did in week 1. The other key to winning this game will be slowing down the Bears' pass rush. Of course, we all know that the Giants' offensive line had an ugly performance on the ground in Week 1, but the Giants did a decent job in pass protection last week. The key matchup to watch in Week 2 will be rookie left tackle Andrew Thomas against all-pro edge rusher Khalil Mack. Andrew Thomas had his hands full with Bud Dupree last week. This week, he will be matched up against one of the best players in the league. Khalil Mack recorded 6 quarterback pressures in Week 1, which was tied for the second most amongst all edge rushers. Mack was constantly in the Detroit Lions' backfield. He is a dominant force that will truly test the Giants' new left tackle in Week 2. Thank you for watching this film breakdown of the Giants' Week 1 matchup with the Steelers by me, Anthony Rivardo, and Fireside Giants, an Empire Sports Media production. Be sure to subscribe for more film breakdowns just like this, as well as a ton of the excellent New York Giants and NFL content. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment what player you want me to break down next, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss a video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.